These two. I feel like I can okay, we are back with one of the most versatile items that you bring to us, but it's also versatile with a touch of luxury because we're talking about actual, real, true filet mignon, just in a smaller size. These are medallions, 2 ounces each. You have your choice of either 10 or 20. These are always really, really popular. That's why we have auto delivery. But auto delivery on this one is every 90 days for a year, not 60, 90, because these are hard to come by because every tenderloin you can only get 2 of these medallions from. So pick these up now. You have your choice of 10 or 20. If you pick up the 10 count, it's an easy pay of $16. The 20 count, 5 easy pays of $25. That is a stock up and save of just a couple pennies shy of $35. They are just as tender and just as buttery and just as juicy and flavorful than a full-size filet mignon. They're just smaller size, which means now you can play with your filet in more ways. It's M81501.
Might coin that phrase, play with your filet. I like that. So you're right. This is the king of all steaks, right? It's the filet mignon. It's the very best, most premium cut, the one everybody wants. And it's so limited to begin with. Before we even get to these 2-ounce fillets, the filet mignon by itself is very limited, right? I want you to think about it. Every steer is about 12 to 1,300 pounds. There's only 12 pounds of filet on every steer. So it's really small to begin with. But then how do we bring these filet medallions to you at such an incredible value, right? 10, 20 of them. I mean, if you were to go get a center cut steak, a 6-ounce or an 8-ounce filet at a restaurant, those are the steaks that they put MKT on the menu, which means market, right? They don't even want to tell you what it's going to cost. So I'm going to show you how we're able to bring these to you at such a great value. So we're going to start right over here at the butcher block. So this is a whole filet mignon of beef. We're going to wait just 1 second for Carlos to come on over here. But this is a whole filet mignon of beef. It typically weighs about 6 to 7 pounds. There's a lot more fat on it. Of course, our butchers take all of that off. They take off all the fat. There's usually like this heavy, thick, kind of silver skin, we call it, on top. You cannot chew through it. That when you get it at the grocery store, that's what it comes with. Not here. We take that all off, right? But then how do we bring these steaks to you at such a great value? Well, I'm going to show you. The top portion, which is what we call, the end or the top. This piece typically weighs about 1.5 to 2 pounds. This is what we're going to take. We're going to net it, and we're going to make our filet mignon roast for. We actually had them on this past Sunday.
Oh, yeah. I had them in my shop.
Yes, exactly.
Very good.
The 3-pound filet mignon roast, that's where that cut goes. We're going to net that, season it, and give you those roasts. But then this portion right here is what's called the center cut. So if you go to a great steakhouse, any one of them, New York City, Las Vegas, Philadelphia, wherever you're at, this is where you get either those 6-ounce or those 8-ounce steaks, right? And there's a reason they only want the center cut portion. And that is because if you and I go out to dinner, Julia, and we both order the filet mignon.
Which I think we would.
Exactly. The restaurants want their customers to get the same exact steak. When you're ordering a steak that's so expensive, they don't want you to feel like you've been taken advantage of. So they only buy the center cuts because of the shape of this meat. That's where you can only get the steaks that are all going to be exactly the same height. Well, then what are we left with, right? We're left with the other end from the tenderloin, where we make our filet mignon roast from, which we call the tail. It's not a tail, it's just a longer portion. It looks like that, that's why we call it that, right? But this is where we get our 2-ounce medallions. So first we'll take about a 4-ounce piece, and then this is where our medallions start. So we get a 2-ounce, a 2-ounce, and in some cases, this one we wouldn't, but some cases we'll get a third. This is where we're going to get our 3 2-ounce medallions. 2 to 3 pieces per whole tenderloin. There's only 2 tenderloins on every steer. So think about that. Incredibly limited, but there's a reason we can bring these to you at such a value. It's because those great steakhouses paid such a premium already for the center cut fillets.
Got it.
That's it right there. You're never going to find these at a grocery store, right? They can't do it. And if anything, they're going to take that medallion, they're going to butterfly it, fan it open, and they're going to sell it to you as a center cut steak, because that's the kind of games that they play at the grocery stores.
And I'm at the butcher shop every day. We don't get these 2-ounce fillets.
Right.
Oh, you don't?
These are for a QVC guest.
We reserve 100%
for QVC.
We just truly.
I like feeling special.
Is that special?
It
really
special.
It is. And again, QVC, our customers and our guests have just absolutely loved this cut because of the value, but it's the king of all steaks. It's the filet. I want you to see, this is a whole 2-ounce tender right here, right? I can just take my fork and literally cut right through the center of that meat. That is how tender this is. You can't do that with every steak. So it's really all about the quality of the meat, the black Angus beef, but that cut, the tenderloin, is what makes it fork tender.
Right. Okay, so remember, a 10 or 20 count, they're kind of neck and neck with which one is most popular right now, but do the 20 count because you have a stock up and save of almost $35 on that 20 count. And you're going to want to keep a good thing coming here, but every 90 days per year, because they are so limited, sometimes we see 60 days per year, this is 90 because they are hard to come by. But I think Chris is about to show us how quickly these cook up also.
They do. I mean, you're talking about, if you're on the grill, it's going to take 3 minutes, 4 minutes on each side on the grill, that quickly. I like to put a little olive oil on each side. When I'm outside, I put the Rastelli seasoning on both sides. Right on 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes on each side, you're done.
Okay.
All right? So that's all we're doing on here.
Simple as that. I mean, they cook so fast. Another thing that's really special about these, we've heard you loud and clear.
That's great.
For the first 10 years of being at QVC, we packed these 2-to-a package. And all of our guests are like, everything you guys do is individual package. Why don't you do it with this one? Well, we finally started doing that. So every one of them now, when you get them at home, every 2-ounce filet is in its own little individual package. So if you want to just cook one, which honestly, when you're eating tenderloin or filet mignon, it's totally lean. There's no fat whatsoever on these steaks. One, in some cases, might be enough protein for you for that night.
Right.
Like, that's all I put on that salad is 1 tenderloin.
That's one?
It's 1. But if you want to do 2, you get 4 ounces. If you want to do 3, it's 6 ounces. That's a pretty awesome way
and caramelized onions.
Yep.
Yeah, look how.
Don't mind if I do.
Get a slider roll, little filet mignon sandwiches.
Yeah. I mean, when else can you put filet mignon as a slider?
Right.
Or filet mignon as your tacos? Or filet mignon on your salad?
Exactly.
You would do a lesser cut of meat just because of the price alone. But this is the only way that you're going to get these 2 ounces. These aren't tips. These are actual medallions, filet mignon medallions. I think I need a bite, please.
Yes. Oh, please. Here, jump right in. Sorry. Let me cut this one for you. And again,
thought we were friends.
Fork tender, right? It's going to cut right off with the fork there.
Okay, thank you.
Give it a shot. But look at that texture. I mean, that texture of the filet, you can see it, is just absolutely beautiful. That's where you get that buttery taste.
It literally melts. Hey, you took my words out of my mouth.
I'm sorry.
Melts in your mouth. And the flavor of filet is just my favorite. I mean, I've always been a filet girl because I love the texture. I love how buttery it is. I love the flavorfulness of it. And this is just divine. It could be an 8 ounce, it could be a 6 ounce. Do it in a 2 ounce because now you get to play with your filet.
Right, right. And you know, we even often tell our guests, like, it's so fun to do these because you can actually prepare them 3 different ways. So if you are somebody that wants to have 8 ounces or 6 ounces of, you know, protein that night, try different sauces. You know, get these at home.
A filet mignon bar.
Exactly, right. There's so many fun things you can do with them because of the size and the portion of them.
Right.
So, really a special item.
Permission to play,
yes.
like Lori Goldstein.
What Chris is doing right there is one of Brittany's like all-time favorite ways to serve these around the holidays. Get the crostini. Of course, we did it with the ribeye earlier too, and that's wonderful. But the filet, just how tender it is, you can bite right into it, and it just melts in your mouth.
With a little olive oil
on top. All right, trained chef.
But you know what's really nice about these 2, Ray, that we talked about? That this is actually filet mignon. It's just because it's a 2 ounce piece. It's right next. It's next door neighbor to the 5 ounce, 6 ounce center cut, right? So take 2 of these and put it on the plate, like Ray's going to do right now.
Yep.
So you have the same meal that you would have if you had a 5 ounce center cut, right? If you want 3, take 3.
Right.
I mean, whatever you want to cook. If you're a bigger eater, have 3. Or if you're having steak and eggs in the morning, just cook 1 off.
When would you ever have steak and eggs with a filet mignon? You wouldn't do that. Right now you can because you have the permission to play with it at these really perfect sizes. Or the shrimp skewers that we saw earlier, a perfect companion, 1 of these and 1 skewer.
Definitely.
That's 5 shrimp and 2 ounces of the filet mignon.
I'm glad you said that. You know, you could take these and just cut them into kind of quarters, right? So you get 4 pieces and skewer it up. Those 4 pieces are going to be more than enough to put on your skewer. So if you do want to make kebabs, grill them off to go with those shrimp skewers, you can definitely do that with these.
It's just such a great idea. That's why these are always popular.
They are.
But auto delivery, it's a little bit longer than our other auto deliveries, every 90 days per year, just because how hard it is for the Rastellis to come by these medallions at 2 ounces each. Now you have your choice of either a 10 count, which is an easy pay of $16, or a 20 count of $25 easy pays. You have 5 easy pays there. That's a stock up and save of nearly $35. Auto delivery every 90 days for a year. It is M81501. All right, don't forget about the salmon fillets though.